1 meter.
Yes.
1 meter on both sides.
Shall we? Have we? Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to this media briefing that has been organized by the chairperson of the National Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus, who is also the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, Honorable Mutahi Kagwe. As you can see, he's surrounded or flanked by senior ministry officials. We have cabinet secretaries. We have got cabinet administrative secretaries, Dr. Rashid. We have also CAS, Dr. Masi Mwangangi. We have the permanent secretary, principal secretary, Madam Susan Muchache, and other senior officers of the ministry. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, like we keep on saying, that the media plays a very, very important role in terms of communicating to the public. And now this issue of coronavirus is nothing else other than communication. And therefore, we must empower our people to be able to have necessary information that can make them be able to protect not only themselves, their families, but also the people around them. Our relationship and association with media has been outstanding, but we are asking that we can be able to deepen and expand that cooperation to ensure that every member of this country has sufficient information in as far that this situation is concerned. When that happens, then we shall be armed enough to be able to contain the spread of this virus. Now, to give you the update today, ladies and gentlemen, is the Cabinet Secretary, who is, like I did mention, is the chair of the National Emergency Response Committee, Honorable Mutahi Kagwe. When he is done, you will be given a chance to ask questions, and like we keep on saying, please keep the questions within the scope of this briefing. Thank you so much. Waziri, please.
Good afternoon, members of the press. Fellow Kenyans, on Sunday, the 15th of March 2020, the government received confirmation of 2 more cases of coronavirus in Kenya, which brought the number of those who were tested positive to 3. The first case of this deadly virus was reported in our country on March the 12th, 2020, which we promptly relayed information to the public through His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Today, we have received confirmation of another case of coronavirus following tests carried out to a patient in one of our private facilities. This now brings the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus in the country to 4. The latest case was confirmed today at our National Influenza Center laboratory. The patient is reported to have traveled from London, United Kingdom, on the 8th of March 2020, arriving in the country on the 9th of March. Tracing of persons who may have come into contact with the patient is ongoing. You will also recall that when we got confirmation of the first case on March the 12th, a total of 27 persons who had come to contact with the patient were traced, quarantined, and tested. It is 2 of those who had tested positive. Results of the 25 plus and additional 23 other persons who have been tested have all turned negative. All the 23 from Bagathi Hospital, we have cleared them to self-quarantine at home. So far, our laboratories at Kemri, and National Influenza Center have tested a total of 111 cases since this pandemic struck our country. For the 2 additional coronavirus cases, a total of 36 contacts have been traced to us by our surveillance team, and we are monitoring them. As you are aware, on the 15th of March, His Excellency the President had directed a number of measures, including travel ban from any country with any case of coronavirus was restricted. Only Kenyan citizens and any foreigners with valid residence permits will be allowed to come into the country, provided that they proceed on a self-quarantine or to a government-designated quarantine facility. May I also add at this point that when the Public Health Act has been invoked, quarantine is not a voluntary measure. It is a mandatory measure which can lead to a big fine and a jail sentence. This measure at the airport is going to be instituted further by making those traveling into the country to swear a legal document that they will comply with what they are supposed to do. As you are aware, all schools and higher learning institutions have been closed and continue, and the work and the process of students going home is continuing. We would like to thank the schools, we would like to thank the parents for their understanding, because nobody has complained and everybody has been extremely understanding. We have also asked the transport system, the matatus who are transporting children, to transport them in clean, sanitized circumstances when they are taking them from their schools to their homes. And we have asked the schools not to put kids in their totality into public system, but to organize with the public transporters how to take children from their school to their homes and in sanitized and clean conditions. We are also happy that the cashless transactions that we have advocated are going on smoothly. The central bank has stepped into this matter. We are appealing for even more improved offers from the cashless transactors. We have urged our people, and we will continue to urge Kenyans, please stay away where people are congregating. May they be weddings, may they be funerals, may they be religious congregations, may they be nightclubs, may they be churches. Please, please, we appeal to you. When we have looked at the countries that have managed to contain the coronavirus, they are those who the citizens have taken upon themselves to take responsibility. It is those places where social distancing has been brought to bear, and it is countries that have made decisions like the ones we have made very quickly. And for us to succeed, we will need the cooperation of just about every other institution that we have mentioned. We have asked that wherever possible, those people in offices, those people who are working, should actually try and work at home. We recognize that essential services must go on, and essentially work must go on. But we have given the measures that should be taken wherever this is necessary. The sanitary measures that we have given, the hygiene measures we have given, the distancing, the social distancing we have given, all these measures will go a long way into assisting us contain this virus. For clarification, there has been a number of things since the executive order was given and since the measures that we have taken were given. there's, as can be expected, various issues that have come up. And for clarification, let me just state the following. That in order for us to mitigate loss being suffered by our economy, there is coronavirus. After coronavirus, there will still be Kenya and there will still be the world. And in order for us not to suffer extreme economic losses, we have considered and found ways of ensuring that cargo vessels, cargo aircrafts or ships can come into the country provided they are disinfected at the point of departure and the crew quarantined on arrival. Following discussions we have had with the Chinese authorities, including the Chinese ambassador in Kenya, for instance, we have come to see how, as they restart their factories, we are also able to start moving goods and services. Goods, particularly goods, no people, just the goods from their areas. There are ships in high seas in Kenya, and we have advised KPA that we are not stopping the ships from coming in. Goods can continue to be brought in, but we will definitely have measures for quarantining any crew that might be on those ships. The second one is that, as you all realize, Kenya is the host of the second largest UN mission in the world. And therefore, in order for the UN headquarters in Kenya to continue operating, diplomats traveling to the UN and residents and the families of persons resident in Kenya. You remember we said that if you are resident in Kenya or if you are a Kenyan, your children can come to you. So the issue has been for those residents who are not Kenyan, but they reside in Kenya, what about their children? And we have said their children can come in, provided they also take the measures that we have given to even the Kenyans. They must quarantine. So UN staff, diplomats, we have said, yes, they can travel alongside the other Kenyans, but they must also follow the rules regarding quarantine. We continue, ladies and gentlemen, to emphasize to the members of the public to remain vigilant and appreciate that this is not a joke. This is not a rehearsal. This is the real McCoy. And nobody should imagine or take lightly the threat that faces our nation. We do not wish to send panic. We do not want to send fear amongst our people. But at the same time, let's be honest with each other. We have got 4 cases at the moment. It started with 1. We went to 3. Luckily, we are not spiking like very many other countries. We went to 4. But we can almost predict that going forward, we should prepare. We should prepare for, hopefully, what will be not too many more cases. The fortunate thing that we have at the moment is that those who have tested positive are healthy as can be in those circumstances, and are continuing to be looked after, and without any outright dangerous signs from them. As this happens, we continue to ask the citizens to maintain basic respiratory hygiene and safe food practices. Please tell our people, keep on cleaning your hands. We have taken to not shaking hands, and we have adopted the Indian greeting of simply acknowledging each other. This is not an abuse against our culture. This is the reality of the day, ladies and gentlemen. So please, we are asking the media to continue passing this message forward and to educate our people and to highlight the seriousness of the situation, because we have been receiving information from people who think that we should take this lightly, who think that we are taking measures that are outwardly unnecessary. And I would like to assure you, nothing could be more necessary than the measures we are taking. We have asked that those areas, those social gatherings that are still going on in supermarkets, in eateries and so on, that you continue to observe the highest levels of cleanliness. Our people, our public health officers are on the prowl. At the slightest sign that an institution is not, a restaurant or otherwise, is not observing the highest levels that we expect in terms of sanitation, washing of hands, and so on, then we shall take further steps. But at the moment, we are encouraged by the cooperation that we are getting from everybody. We are also making a special appeal for members of the public to utilize the toll-free number 719. 719. I'm appealing to the media, particularly the print media. If you could have that 719 somewhere in front of your newspaper or somewhere on the bottom of running at the bottom of your TV stations, it would help a lot. Because currently what is happening is that everybody is calling everybody. I cannot tell you how many people have called me personally to report a patient in Huruma, the other one in Mukurweini, the other one in elsewhere. So please, we have a toll-free number. Let's use it. Fellow Kenyans, I appeal, as His Excellency the President did the other day, for calm, vigilance, and care. Thank you all very much. Questions?
Coronavirus disease is slowly breathing life. One of the main concerns is entry points at the airport. They are concerned that the government is not paying full attention on the airport because flights from London are still touching down at JKIA. What is the government doing to ensure that there is Kenyans are safe from any visitor or anybody who is landing in the country? And number two, I don't know whether the government is aware of a case of passenger from KQ the morning who disembarked and was rushed to an ambulance. Are you aware of that? And another case, I have two more questions about Bagadi, is the government increasing surveillance at the private hospitals. Secondly, there's a concern from patients at Bagadi that they are using cold showers. And that is one of the concerns that we see. And the rising cost of sanitizer in the market. Is that the government going to do something the same? As well as the last question is on encouraging Kenyans to work from home. What happens to those who depend on a daily Jengo or the day-to-day work?
Just to pick up from where he's left, the other question is...
could you please just identify yourself when you ask?
My name is Kennedy from NTV, and you actually painted a grim picture of more other cases that might come. And there is a question that has been even coming to the newsroom with regards to parents. There are some who are looking at this break of their children being at home as a holiday, and some of them are even taking them to social places, and this is actually exposing them even more. When will we get to a time when we say that it is complete shutdown so that we can be able to deal with this case of corona completely? And number two, yesterday when the government spokesperson was talking, he said that there are 3 other suspected cases that may lead into discovery of corona. What is the status as of now? Are we looking at a possible rise to 7?
Please, if you're going to ask many questions, you're going to deny others a chance. Just ask one question, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The first one is I think what the government spokesman yesterday was talking about are the 3 cases that we already have, not 3 cases expected. Because suspected, everybody is suspected. Everybody is suspected in this sense. The reason why we take you to isolation, and as I speak today, we have got, I think, over 20 people in isolation. So when you talk about suspected, that's probably the what you can call suspected. But we do not have a specific number of 1 or 2 that we can say these are the ones that we are suspecting. We suspect people only when they have been exposed, when you have been in touch with people who have coronavirus, and at that point we want to carry out tests. So probably what you mean is there are 3 people we are carrying out tests of, but that is not to say that those are the only people that we suspect. As far as we are concerned, at the moment, anybody exposed, is potential. That's the way of the world. That's just the way it is at the moment. As for the children, you will notice that yesterday, the Ministry of Sports actually closed down. A lot of the Ministry of Sports closed down a lot of areas, the museums, the sports grounds, the play areas, because the idea, and you must also understand, Bwana Mureithi, we are all in a learning process at the moment. We have never had to send children home and tell them, stay indoors. This is the first time it is happening. And so you can understand, if it doesn't seem to be taking effect as quickly as you'd want it to be, there's a lot of education to be done. There is a lot of urging to be done. There's a lot of understanding to create before people do what we are saying. And this is the purpose of a meeting such as this one that we have today, is the purpose of a briefing such as this one, just so people can start doing exactly what we are saying, and realizing that the reason we sent them home is to social distance the kids. So if you go home and then you take your children to the museum, then you have not social distanced them. It has not served the purpose. So that is something we are continuing to urge the parents to do. As for a total shutdown, it is always on the table. A total shutdown is always on the table, because depending on on how we see the progress, depending on how we monitor the situation, then, and also we are monitoring with the Ministry of Interior to see to what extent the public is following the guidelines, along the guidelines that we have given. At the point where we think that the danger is enhanced, then you take the necessary, the committee will debate and take the necessary steps. The attention at the airport, I can assure you, there is serious vigilance. And even if you look at the social media, even persons who have traveled through Dubai, persons who have traveled through London, they will tell you that in their travels, where they are getting the most serious checks is actually here in Nairobi. So we have not in any way relaxed our surveillance, both through our cameras, thermal scanners, and so on and so forth. And sometimes you can walk in and think that you are not scanned. I assure you, you are scanned. The case of a passenger in an ambulance, that's a detail I would not know right now. I'm sure that's the only one. He's not the only one who is in an ambulance. There must be a number of people from different places in an ambulance. And therefore, I will wait for the technical people to give that detail. We are working very, very closely with the private sector, and we are very happy with what they are doing. The business community has come together, and I believe in the coming couple of days, we will be having a joint press conference with them. And of course, there is the issue of addressing the economy, and that's why we are trying to take baby steps in seeing what we can do to mitigate, our economic situation. As for the sanitizers, let me tell you how to bring down the cost. Let me advise Kenyans how to bring down the cost of sanitizers. Buy soap and wash your hands. If you bring down the demand, you know, demand follows supply. When the supply is limited, what happens is that the price go up. And as much as we are trying to tell these people, bring these prices down, we are asking the Ministry of Water, and indeed we can confirm that CS for Water, Cicely Karaoke, has already started to ensure that they are putting water points in as many places in this town and in the country as possible. The CS in Water has also confirmed that he is asking all water companies who have shut down water because of bills, because of certain mechanical issues, that we address those issues as county governments, as national government. If you people have not paid bills at this time, please understand, open those taps. We will talk about the money later. Right now, we are talking about life and death. Let's deal with the money later. Open the taps. And Cicely Karaoke has said this is exactly what she's trying to get done. So if people use soap, simple washing of soap with, wash your hands with soap. We are asking supermarkets, we know that you sell these sanitizers, but please also provide water points so that people can wash their hands with soap. And if they do that, the demand for sanitizers will come down. Meanwhile, we are telling those who produce them to produce them en masse so that we can flood the market with them, since our people are simply not listening when we tell them to bring them down.
Yes, Shuma only.
My name is Phoebe from GBS. My question is, according to the President's directive that only Kenyans be allowed into the country, does that also apply to the Kenyan people? And then very briefly, WHO's biggest concern now is the people who are spreading the virus are asymptomatic. So has that been put into consideration as well?
Yes, maybe you can ask and I'll take the two.
My first question is social distancing. What measures are you taking to prevent scenarios where, for example, slums, where is the government doing about it? And finally, I understand in 2015 you deployed a team in West Africa to combat Ebola. Are you still using that team? And if you're using that team, what are your plans to do something?
Okay, I will let the technical team that is here, I will ask the DG to answer the question of the Ebola team and what we are doing with them. I had actually mentioned earlier that we are even using them for training of our own people. But I'll ask them to respond to that. You also raised a question about some symptomatic issues. I will ask those who know what that word means to also respond to it, because I'm not very conversant with those ones. But I would like to respond to the question of the very crowded areas that we have. And we have taken measures. We have asked our national youth. We have got a team of national youth people. We have got a team in the Ministry of Health that is going to start going around within those slum areas, walking the walk, so to speak, or walking the talk, so that they can be able to talk to them and tell them what to do and tell them how to behave in the event of and just to deal with some of these measures. And these are the areas we are saying that we are asking the county governments to take serious measures as far as cleanliness is concerned. We are also asking the Ministry of Water, and they are assisting us to do so, to ensure that these areas have water so that people can be able to clean their hands. Let me give my colleagues a chance.
Thank you, CS. For the Ebola champions, indeed, we have incorporated the Ebola champions into our contingency plan. They are part of the people who are assisting us with the surveillance at our points of entry. They are in our isolation units at Kenyatta National Hospital and Bagathi Hospital. They are also part of the people who are assisting us in training the rest of the healthcare workers, especially on issues regarding infection prevention and control. Just because Ebola and COVID, Ebola like COVID, the main means of stopping spread is through infection prevention and control. So the Ebola champions are part and parcel of the entire war towards combating COVID-19. In terms of the spread of people who are asymptomatic spreading the virus, yes, scientifically it's true, but this is a small percentage of the population who can be able to pass the virus over to the next person. But the majority of transmission takes place when you start developing symptoms. That is like fever, you have cough, you have difficulty in breathing. So the people who transmit before they exhibit the symptoms are few. Majority of the transmitters are those who are symptomatic. Thank you.
Just one last one.
As we said earlier, wherever students are able to travel, we have said that wherever students are able to travel, our Kenyan students are free to travel. What perhaps you are asking about is airlifting, of Kenyans, because even from China there are students who are still able to come. But the thing about and the dynamism of this whole disease is that as we speak, China now is the one that is dipping completely. I think it's CNN that was reporting today that only 2, in the area of Wuhan were reported. So it may change so much so that at some point, the areas where we are supposed to airlift are not the areas that we should be concerned about anymore. But who am I to say? I mean, who knows what is going to happen in the next couple of days? For me, the important thing, and for the government, the important thing is for us to appreciate the seriousness, not panicking, not fearing, but just appreciating the seriousness of the situation. Kwa sababu alikuwa moja, sasa tuko na wanne. Tuko na watu wanne ambao wamepatikana na hii virusi. Kwa hivyo ni lazima tujikinge na ni lazima tufuate vile serikali inatuuliza tufanye. Asanteni.
No, we're going to have other updates as we go along. So thank you so much. No, Misha. No, you can't.
Which hospital is this?
As I say, we will continue to give further updates. Ladies and gentlemen, when I keep you waiting, you complain. Now I don't want to keep you waiting today. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
You are not saying the hospital because yes,
Haya.